Our first live of 2022. This is Closing the Gap.
Yes, Closing the Gap. Welcome to 2022. We're excited to be back.
Yes.
We're approaching an anniversary soon, right?
We are.
February, I think.
March. I feel like we were doing a lot of meetings and stuff in February, but March was our first.
The meetings, yes.
Yes, so.
Okay. So this is kind of like an anniversary.
It is.
I guess. So, yes, but thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome back. First of all, how was your New Year's? How was your Christmas? How was
that? We
that?
filmed a lot of episodes. Oh gosh, in a lot of December, so we haven't seen each other in a month. But my Christmas was great. How was yours? And my New Year's? Well, New Year's was okay.
Okay, yeah. Well, why was it just okay?
I wasn't feeling good, so I was like, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. My Christmas was good. I went to Georgia, spent a week over there, and had a lot of family time, and it was cool. And then New Year's was very chill. I told myself I'm not doing anything. Like last year, was busy. Yeah. This year I was like, I'm chilling. Yeah. So that's what I ended up doing.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, glad to be back in our routine.
Absolutely. But there's a lot of stuff that happened in December.
Listen.
A lot of stuff.
One thing, I immediately messaged you. I was like, oh my gosh, your girl's back in the market.
I know. I was very excited. So, I was like, Meagan Good, what I'm saying? I finally had my chance, you know what I'm saying? Because, she'd been off the market for no, I'm just playing. I felt really bad because I'm a big fan of Devon Franklin and Meagan Good. I've read two of Devon's books. One, The Wait, and then he had another book I read. Seems like a very good dude.
Yeah.
And then Megan's fine. So, both people were great. But when I heard about their divorce, I was very confused.
Same. I think a lot of people were so confused. They seem like such a good couple. They seem so happy. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what happened? And a lot of people thought of them as goals. Were they goals for you?
I mean, yeah.
Especially in the Christian community, I should say.
Absolutely. Because for me, I like it when I see, high-profile celebrities that aren't ashamed of their faith and that are open about it.
Yes.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a follower, to say that doesn't, I'm not saying that doesn't affect my relationship with God, seeing a celebrity. But when I do see it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I enjoy that. So when they got divorced, let me take a step back. So, yeah, they were goals in that sense because I was like, oh, look at them. They're successful. They're on the main stage. And I'm thinking, and they're in Hollywood. So the fact that they're still working, they still have a marriage through all that stuff, mm-hmm. and Christian, because that's a big piece. Being married, and that's already challenging.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
When you're Christian, married, and in Hollywood,
yes,
that's tough.
Yes, it is. Listen, I can only imagine all the stuff that they had to go through and why they're here. But a lot of people though. Because they were goals and whatever, a lot of people were saying, well, if marriage is not even worth it anymore, what's the point of getting married or whatever the case may be, because of the fact that they were goals. Then also, I remember one of them actually said they felt that God told them they to get married. So a lot of people felt like, well, if God told you this, what's the point? Why am I getting married or whatever the case may be? So, but let's see what the people are saying.
Someone said they weren't confused.
Jessica.
Oh, JP.
Yes, JP. You wasn't confused. What was that for?
Well, I would love to hear why you weren't confused. I was a little confused after I sat down and thought about it.
You need to come back on the show to explain that, because she said she got to talk about that in person.
Yeah, I agree. You should definitely come back on. That was a lot of fun. But after a week of me, imagining what me and Megan's life was going to be about and how that was going to be, I was just like, what? It kind of does make sense, because you got two people whose lives are moving all over the place.
That's true.
He is a high-profile Hollywood director, author, and pastor. Mm-hmm. Okay, and she is an amazing actress who is in high demand.
Yeah, she's doing a lot of director work and producing works as well.
Okay, so I didn't know she was producing too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, there you go. I mean, she's doing all those things. He's doing all those things. They're all over the place. And I was reading up on it, and that's what other people like. They were like saying sources close to Meagan Good and Franklin were saying like they just never stopped moving. The only time they really sat still was during the pandemic, and then after that they were gone again. Like, and so they were saying it was kind of like a long time coming because they were kind of just
drifting.
strangers
in the night.
Yeah,
and I mentioned that to you guys. I was saying like I wonder if they were so used to just being so far, and I wonder if like having to be stuck in 2020 like and just in the house together, you're like, ooh, who are you? Why am I here? Like, right. I don't know. I don't like the way you do this or whatever the case may be. I don't know.
And when you think about it like that,
I'm not saying that's the good reason. I'm just saying that could be a possible reason.
And when you think about it like that, it starts to make more sense because a lot of couples had to go through that in 2020 where they actually had to sit and, just be right there every single day.
Listen.
And, I can't think of any person I want to see every day like that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So, hold on, move the table so I can see the comments as well. I was rooting for them, but they really had different backgrounds and believed someone was going to have to give up more than the other and just choose. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That is true. I mean, that is true.
They're very career-driven people. They're not like neither one of them is the chill out, sit down type.
Yeah, and it's also with like, I mean, okay, I don't like to assume like I know her or whatever, but just I guess perception was like, of course he's a pastor, but we never before him. To me, you never saw her really like, I don't know, profess her faith or whatever. So it seemed like she was doing that because now she's with this pastor. So maybe it was like a different lifestyle. So
probably, and that brings up two important things we should talk about. Well, one, Devon Franklin, how should I say this? I firmly looked up and still look up to him because this man was 10 years celibate before he got married to Meagan Good.
Yeah.
So his commitment to me, I was just like, bro, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Meagan Good, on the other hand, she was on a celibacy journey, you know what I'm saying? And she, had her falls and stuff, but right before she met Devon was when she really was like on her celibate path. But the reason that she became celibate is because, and this is what she said, she was tired of like sex clouding her judgment and her ending up with the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that was more of her reason, more than a dedication to God. I could be wrong, but I think so. On that sense, maybe they weren't equally yoked in that sense.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. So we do have some more comments really quick. Ms. Parker said, that's not a reason to break up marriage. That's what wrong people. Exactly. I totally agree. Again, I wasn't saying that was a good reason too, but I think that was a lot of people's reason behind it. Especially, I think, and it's very hard. That's their reason because they came out publicly and said they believe God put them together. So if that's the case, it just makes it that much hard. I don't know. It makes it that much harder, and just especially for Christian couples, and it's just
yeah. I mean that statement, God told me to get married, or said that we were going to get married.
We were supposed to get married.
Yeah.
In which you can seek God, and He can say this is the person for you. But the fact that you're giving up, if God did tell you, is like, well, did you seek Him? Are you supposed to be? He don't want you to get divorced. So, did you go through all the proper channels to make this marriage work? If God actually put you together, and so. If it's just because, oh, I don't get to see you, oh, it's tough. Guess what? Life's tough. It's going to go through rough patches. You have to like put forth the work and all the effort. So I don't know, especially if God did tell you to make it work.
Do you remember that viral clip of Meagan and Devon when they were getting interviewed on some show, and that lady was like, hey Meagan, I love you, all that, but like, are you gonna like, I just saw this magazine and you had everything out, and he's like, are you gonna cover up? Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
And then Devon Franklin was like, no, we're not gonna do that, she's gonna wear whatever she wants. Yes. Right,
I remember that was a whole thing in the beginning of their marriage. Yeah,
right. So in your opinion, okay,
oh boy,
did Devon compromise on his values, Christian values, in that moment to defend Meagan?
As a pastor, yes, because there's still a certain standard he should have stood up to, but at the same time, I would have publicly said it out to. I would have had that conversation before. She like what you would have wanted for like as a wife or whatever the case may be. I wouldn't have shamed her. I would have wanted him to shame her publicly, but maybe like, hey, honey, or whatever the case may be.
So right. But you realize for him that would have been probably a hard conversation, because Meagan, I mean, up until they got married, I mean, she was, and I'm not complaining, she was, being fine and showing it off, right? So for him, that's kind of isn't that kind of conflicting? You know what I'm saying?
It's always that, like when pastors are people, Christian leaders, and with that kind of platform, I'm always looking at them sideways, and they're like, I shouldn't say look at them sideways, but it's always that like, you chose her. Like, it's kind of like, what, I don't know, because especially with Meagan Good, you have that perception of her. Sorry, what is the?
Ms. Parker said, we should have a second show with people who have been married over 30 years. And they will give us some keys.
Exactly.
On longevity.
Put in the work to stay married on no matter the situation. Exactly, DJ. Exactly. But, yeah, I'm always like, if you know what you stand for, so you align yourself with somebody who doesn't have that same values or beliefs, it makes it harder. That's all I can say about that. Right.
So maybe they kind of put themselves in like
a situation
where it was going to be tough.
Yes. Yeah. So, but as far like, I'm not saying that these are all any good reasons why they got divorced, but there's a lot of things that probably led up to the reason why they got divorced, and I thought we kind of hinted towards a couple of them already. Where they're with them always being separated, and then the tough stress of 2020 kind of just made it like brought a lot of things to light. I don't know, or even just the long distance itself, maybe that just took a toll on them. What else do you think? Maybe
long distance, constant moving, being more career driven than like settle down family driven. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I would say probably, I mean, they're both in their 40s, and I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel like around 40s you start wanting to have kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially them being married for 9 years, and I'm not saying we know her, maybe she couldn't have had kids. I don't know. We don't know a lot of things. So I'd never want to harp on that, because we don't know. Maybe she just physically couldn't, so I don't want to harp on like, oh well, you should have been settled down. Like,
yeah. I'm not saying
they didn't want kids.
I'm not even saying there's a particular reason.
No, I've heard people say that too, though.
Yeah. So yeah.
But I didn't want to bring that up, because I was like, you don't know that a woman's journey. You don't know what's going on, so I never ever want to like put that as an issue out there, because you just never know what's going on.
Yeah, and then on top of they're dealing with things like on top of what normal people deal with, like the amount of options and how easy it is to walk away, and all these other things. So I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think they put anything else.
That's a lot of messages retracted. I wonder what these retracted messages said.
She really went in. She was like, let me take that out. But yeah, So we have another point, right? In
Yeah.
regards to
So
this-
what do you guys
this marriage.
think about celebrity marriages or Meagan Good, or is marriage still worth it in 2020? And I was just shocked about
That's what it was. Yeah. The name of it. Yeah.
I was just shocked about how many people, after hearing this news, were devastated, and a lot of people were saying, "What's the point of marriage anymore?" or whatever the case may be. And it was just like, "Oh my gosh, is it that deep?" Like, but even take them out the equation, you see fewer and fewer people like say, "I'm not getting married. What's the point? It's just paper," or whatever the case may be. Have you heard the same thing? Have you been hearing the same thing? Or
Which part again? Tell me.
about like marriage isn't worth it. It's just,
I mean, look. The Bible doesn't say you have to get married, so you don't have to get married. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there shouldn't be pressure for anybody to get married, in my opinion.
Right.
That's, yeah. I mean, I have family members happily single, Christian. So I mean, I see it. So, but anyway, I mean, is marriage still worth it? I think that is something like you as an individual has to determine, because for me, I think it's worth it, especially for children. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was reading up on a lot of statistics that like children do much better when they're living in a 2-parent household. Parents are married and they have a healthy relationship. That's a piece we can't ignore.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, I think there's plenty of reasons to that makes marriage worth it. You know, what about you?
definitely. Marriage is definitely worth it, and like I agree with you. Like, marriage is not for everyone. So if you know that, if you know it's not for you, and you're one of those people who just want to do what you want to do and don't want to take another person accountability, then maybe you should stay single and just live your life and not have to give anybody else that headache trying to combat with you.
Yeah.
But I do believe if you find that right person that has same beliefs on the same like-minded with goals, vision, and everything, then I think marriage is a great thing.
Yeah, you have a better chance of being successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Stephanie Miller, she said, every relationship is different, but I would not gauge my choice for marrying or not based on stars or non-stars. Be led by your own heart and mind. Be God-led. And 100%.
100%.
And I think we didn't really talk about that enough. I understand why people saw Meagan and Devon as goals, because of the faith and them being public about it, and not being ashamed of that. But we were talking about this. Just because their relationship failed doesn't mean that should affect your decision on whether or not to get married. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
Yeah. So I agree.
I to Stephanie's point, and I never understood people who say like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so devastated that their marriage not, so maybe I should get married." What? Like, first of all, these are celebrities. They live a whole different type of lifestyle than we do. It's just like half of them don't have the same morals or beliefs. So it's just like you can't measure your life or your whatever based on these celebrities. I'm not saying this about Meagan and Devon, but for the big picture of celebrities, they have different morals and live by a whole different lifestyle. So don't ever it's like, oh my gosh, their marriage didn't work, so my marriage my marriage won't work, so I'm never going to get married, or whatever the case may be. I've just never understood that.
Right.
I understand being like, oh man, I'm a little sad, or man, I like this couple. Or,
I mean, if anything, I think a normal relationship is easier than a celebrity relationship, just because they have access to so much more. I would assume to get into more stuff.
You saying there's
more distractions?
No, you said they're harder. You said
Christian celebrity relationships, I think, would be even harder.
Okay.
Because when you're in the public eye, I mean, I'm just thinking about like people that are trying to like get with you or something like that. You're in the public eye and all that. They're like, ooh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're like a regular guy or a regular girl, it's not it's not the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying in that respect. But we had two really good comments I saw coming here. Miss Parker said, listen, it's okay to be single and not married. Most Christians seem to want to marry because they want to have sex. But what if something happens and you can't have sex? Are you still going to stay committed?
Exactly. And that's the key. The thing is about people don't have commitment anymore. There's that commitment is gone. So when things get hard, I feel like that's what people are lacking, is that commitment to the marriage, to that person, to your vows. And so I think that's the reason why we see a lot of divorce, because when things get hard, when things don't go your way, or when you're quote unquote not happy, you lose sight. You don't have that commitment to hold on, or and you just kind of like, well, I'm going to find something else. I'm going to go another route. So that is true. You have to have that commitment. As Stephanie said, one parent households can be strong and edifying. Two is great, but I know several single parent households that raise wonderful contributing children. That is true. Exactly. She said marriages work no matter who you are, celebrity or not. Yes, it's so much work, and you have to put in that work no matter who you are. So
Agreed.
It's just, listen, I think that's I've been preaching for the longest. People just want the easy thing and not really willing to put in that work, and they want it to be that shiny Hollywood movie.
Ecclesiastes 4 verses 9 through 12 says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return for their labor. If any of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. So
that's good.
Bible, obviously is pro-marriage. So.
Exactly. And I think that's good points to bring out to understand why marriage is worth it, because you have that person and especially that's a good reason why you should always find somebody with same beliefs and all that. But you have somebody in your corner when things get hard to hold you up and help you out when things get exactly. So this conversation was going good, but we don't want to hold you guys too much. But any last minute comments about Devon, Franklin, and Meagan Good, or marriage for that matter? That's true. 2-parent heterosexual household is God's idea. Hold on, it went away. Oh, yeah, she retracted it. So, all right. So, the message is getting retracted before I can read the full thing. But thanks, guys, for joining our live. This is our first live of 2022. 2020.
Yep.
Yes, so we'll be back soon. We'll probably have a part 2 to keep this conversation not necessarily about Meagan and Devon, but about just marriage in general, because I think it's something that just we need to talk about. It's a lot of struggles out here. So we're gonna have part 2 coming for you.
Because what I want to talk about is it's not just the people, it's the society. To me, that makes marriage harder in today's world. So I think we'll analyze that a bit more in part 2.
She's like, oh, that was quick. Yeah, we don't want to keep drawing out, but we'll definitely have part 2 for you guys. But yeah. Well, thanks for joining. We enjoyed you. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and share this broadcast with some friends. Let them join in the conversation. We'd love to hear what they have to chime in about this Meagan and Devon debacle. So come back next time. Bye.
See y'all next time.